Council because I love shoreline, and I'm passionate about making sure that our city is on the right path. We all want to live in a vibrant, prosperous, and hopeful place. I've been out talking to lots of people. Some of you remember me from being on your ShariTraceySep last spring. And I know that we all share a vision. Part of that vision starts with having leaders that are competent, ethical, and independent. We need council members that will bring those qualities to the table. Another really important part of that vision is our quality of life. Preserving our open spaces, our great parks, our great outstanding schools, having community gathering places, and preserving the character and integrity of our neighborhoods. I've lived in Shoreline for 17 years. I'm a dedicated community volunteer. As many of you probably know, I co-chaired the successful Parks Bond in 2006, which preserved over 25 acres of open space. And has done some amazing projects in our parks. I now sit on the park board overseeing a lot of those projects, so that's great fun for me to actually see the follow through of that work and all of our tax dollars. I'm also on the board of the Echo Lake Neighborhood Association, and that's, again, as I spoke to earlier, the integrity of and character of our neighborhoods is so important to all of us who live in Shoreline. One of the things I really hear from people when I'm out doorbelling is what's going on in their neighborhood. And so I want to work really hard with the Friends of Aldercrest to make sure that we can achieve great things through open dialogues, community conversations like this, and with other groups and with partnerships. Besides my community volunteer work professionally, I was Bob Ferguson's former chief of staff. So I have government experience. I know what it's like to get things done and how important effective leadership is when you're faced with tough decisions. And there's no doubt that Shoreline is going to be faced with a lot of tough decisions in the next 4 years. My goals as your city council member will be making sure that any development done in our neighborhood is done in a thoughtful and proactive way, really putting some thought into what we're doing, how we can preserve open spaces, and how we can make things happen the way we want them to. Shoreline is a family city. We need to make sure our neighborhood and businesses reflect those values and priorities. Thank you very much. Okay. Great question. I'd like to first start by saying that I don't think divisiveness helps any of us. I think that even though we may be different cities, we share a school district, and it is only to the benefit of everyone if everyone uses those parks. So they should be open for Shoreline and Lake Forest Park residents to use. I think that's a very important point. Do I think it's a valid concern? I guess it's a concern. How valid it is, I'm not really sure how much time we should spend worrying about something that we can't do anything about. I don't think anybody's going to put a gate on the parks and say, Lake Forest Park people can't come in. That's ridiculous. So, and as far as the multi-jurisdictional partnership, absolutely. I think that's how we're going to get things accomplished in our community, by having open dialogues, by partnering with different groups, whether it's the cities partnering together or nonprofits, profits, and that's why it's crucial for cities to be talking to one another, and for the Shoreline City Council to have a good relationship with Lake Forest Park, Edmonds, everyone around us. We need to be working regionally to make these things happen. And that sort of answers the third part, which is how would I approach those multi-city collaboration. You have to be respectful of people. You have to let people know that you are going to listen to what they say, and you're going to respect what their needs are, and that you're going to do your best to find a compromise that's going to work for everyone. It has to be done in the spirit of working together for the betterment of the community.
Okay, next question. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
First you make me go first, and you're not. This is a great question. Again, they're all great questions. And the idea of neighborhood equity for parks is, I think, the ideal. The great thing about that is that it allows our neighborhoods to have walkability. So I live over in Echo Lake, and I walk to Echo Lake Elementary School, where my girlfriend and I walk laps around the field. That's really, I think, what we're looking for when we talk about why we want parks in our neighborhood. They're easier to get to, and we don't want to have to get into our cars and drive to a park, right? As I said, the elementary school that I use, there's a lot of schools that are being used as parks that are not official parks, as well as the official school district property that is being used as parks. And it's so valuable, and we have to make sure that we, as citizens, do our part to help maintain those and clean up after ourselves so that we can still have our neighborhood parks that are not parks. You know, pursuing a site like this, it just has to happen. You can't just let it go and write it off. You've got to move forward, and again, it's got to be one of those things where you've got a group of people together from whatever, you know, whether it's people that live in the condos who use that space as their own backyard, or people who live in the houses who use that space for their kids' soccer team practice. It's valuable to the entire community, and it's valuable to the entire city of Shoreline. I was on the board of Richmond Little League, and one of the jobs I had at one time was the uniform coordinator. I spent many hours in the Aldercrest Annex in the basement under the gym, putting together Little League uniforms for 700 kids. And, you know, that was Richmond Little League on the other side of the city. There were no boundaries. So, again, I just want to say that one of the things I really want to work on is not doing that so much to our neighborhoods and between our cities. As far as what we can do to get that done, I think we've got some great lessons learned and some valuable experiences both with Paramount Park, with Southwoods. Sunset has a group that's working to try to put a park in there. That might work. So we need to really look at what's been done and not recreate the wheel, but move forward to get more great things accomplished. But really, that really is what it's about. You know, that the vision statement is great, and I refreshed myself with that this morning on my bus ride downtown. I take the bus to work. And just reading it, you know, one more time just makes you think, yes, this is really what we want. And we'll talk about sustainability. I like to talk about walkability. I'm a walker, as I guess it stands to most people know from all the doorbelling I've done. And I really like to get places in a leisurely pace, get there, and walk to wherever it is in my neighborhood that I need to go, whether it's the grocery store, the hair salon, the park, whatever it might be. And I think this neighborhood really has it all. I mean, you definitely need some improvements and some other things, and with Aldercrest being one of them. If there's a way that we can work that into whatever it might be, and I don't have any silver bullets. I can't say this is what it should be, but I think we've got a great opportunity there to really make this sort of the shining star of the city of Shoreline. With the retail core, I used to teach spinning classes up at 24-hour fitness. You know, there's a lot of great things in this area, and as you said, there's more housing, different types of housing, and that was one of the things that really stuck out in my mind when I heard about this neighborhood, was I was doing lots of apartments, I was doing some condos, I had so many great conversations. Of course, most of them were about the jail, but really people from a variety of, you know, backgrounds and mixed income, as well as the whole mixed housing. It was just a great experience. So I'd like to see, I'd like to really see that vision start right here in this neighborhood. We have a good relationship between all parties, the school district, other cities. We just can't do it if we're not talking. So that's really where it starts. With an open dialogue and again with respect for one another. And that's how I would work to improve it. I have a lot of experience both as a leader, but also in team building and in being a team player. And I think a lot of folks come out running for office and they say, yay me, I'm a leader. Well, I've been a leader, but I've also, as I said, been down in the basement putting uniforms together. It's important that you have people who know how to bridge gaps and to just have an open, honest dialogue without being afraid of what the other party is going to take from it. So you really have to work on that at Shoreline. Keeping public lands in public hands. Did you read that part of the question or not?
Yeah.
Okay. That's ideal, and the reason that I think that ideal is because those public lands, like Aldercrest, it's an anchor for our community. People use it as a landmark. Okay, take a left at that, you know, that old school or whatever it might be. And those are really valuable parts of our community and how we build our community. It's ideal if you can do it. Maybe it's not. Maybe it becomes, it's where the old Aldercrest was. But those buildings and those places are really important to everyone in our community. And we need to do what we can to partnership together with nonprofits, profits, and other cities and jurisdictions